All right, thanks everybody for hopping on. I'm not going to talk too much because y'all hear enough from me as it is. So huge thank you, obviously, to Phoebe Bacon. You guys saw the email. I'm sure almost all of you are very familiar with her. Phoebe will tell us more about herself than I will, but obviously, standout UW swimmer, two-time Olympian, still in the Madison area. Was gracious enough to attend our Jack Pettinger invite last year, sign some autographs, and then do this event for us as well. So we're really excited for this. Um, let's see. Yeah, without any further ado, so we'll do. Phoebe will talk a little about kind of just herself and her background, experiences either with collegiately or international competition, and then we'll have some time for Q&A at the end. A number of you submitted some pretty good questions through that Google form, but you can also just drop some questions in the chat, and I'll kind of proctor that as we go. So, without further ado, Phoebe, go ahead.
Yeah, sweet. So, hey guys, yeah, like Jacob said, I'll do a bunch of talking, and then I'll leave a good chunk of time for questions that you all submitted, as well as anything you got that pops up into your head right now, or if I say something that sparks a question as well. But so I'm Phoebe Bacon, two-time Olympian, two-time NCAA champion. Um, there a bunch of things, but I don't they're fun titles, but I also think that there's always more on the horizon that can be done, in my opinion. But I'll kind of start with my story. So I am one of four. I have two older siblings, one younger. And back when I was about 2 years old, my mom loved to go to the pool every day of the summer. She liked to sit out there, she'd relax, she'd tan, and my older siblings, would be able to go and play in the pool. And eventually, she was kind of like, I should get them into swimming, into summer swimming. And that following year at age 3, I was swimming up and down laps of the pool, getting screamed at by coaches because I couldn't focus for the life of me, but I knew that I could get to the other side as quick as possible. But that kind of was where my swim career began. A summer pool that was short course meters. It didn't have any like gutter. If you've ever swam in the UW pool, there's like that gutter where you can almost grab with your hands. And there's no such thing as blocks. We dove right off the side of the pool. And that's just how I learned. And that's what brought me the love of swimming, was my summer team and coming back every year and being able to cover my face in face paint and put we're the Talio Foxes, put Talio Fox tattoos all over myself and get to race these fun relays and all summer long just enjoying the sport. And I always, to this day now, if I'm ever in a rough practice or having a difficult time at a meet, I always just try and remind myself, like, what would that 8, 9-year-old Phoebe be doing if she was at a summer meet again? Like what would she be doing to keep herself calm or keep herself having fun? So that's something that I hold on really strongly to. But fast forward a couple years, I competed for my high school team. I competed for my middle school. I was year-round swimming essentially ever since I was about 3 years old. Um, but that doesn't mean I wasn't doing anything else. I went into high school being a four sport athlete. I would do soccer in the fall. In the winter, I would somehow sneak away with doing swimming and ice hockey. And then in the spring, I would do lacrosse. And I'd be doing all these sports for my high school while competing for my club team back at home, just like you guys compete for back. So I was doing everything I could because I just enjoyed being active. I was an active kid. I like to run around. I like to be a little bit aggressive, and you don't always get that in the pool, but I could find that on the soccer field or on the ice rink. So that gave me, and I think doing all those sports, they taught me different lessons along the way. One of the big ones was just like teamwork, purely Swimming can be a very individualized sport. You know, it's when you're up there behind the block, you can look over and see your team and see your coaches, but ultimately it's you standing there behind the block. It's you deciding how you're going to race and how you're going to compete with the people next to you and around you. So it can make you feel small. You can feel alone when you're swimming occasionally. And I did a lot of these sports because I wanted that team aspect a little bit more. And I was able to take everything that I learned in the soccer, the ice hockey, and bring it into my training and my competing when I'm at the pool and when I'm racing. I push my teammates sometimes too hard. They push me because I appreciate that. And you create this environment with the people that you train with every day that you want to be able to rely on them and you want them to be able to rely on you. It's being able to hold each other accountable. And I think that's super important. And you can learn that through swimming, absolutely. But I think doing a lot of these other sports growing up helped me learn that sense of accountability and being part of something that's not just yourself. Another thing that I kind of took away from doing a lot of these sports was another aspect of leadership. I look at myself as a leader, whether in the pool, out of the pool, in the classroom, or wherever I am. I pull that leadership because I see it as a positive attribute in any environment that I'm in, and I got to do that back at when I was still competing and training with the UW team. I was a captain there for 2 years. And then this past summer, when I went off to Singapore with Team USA for Worlds, I was voted on as captain, and I got to lead that team. And it always makes you feel a little bit better about yourself, and it makes you become more accountable for what you are going to provide for the team and how they're going to react to you. So I think leadership's super important and that accountability piece. And that's a to sum up kind of like my entire like high school career. I swam, I loved it. I played soccer, I loved it. Anything you asked me to do, I was probably enjoying it and I was probably smiling. Which then leads me to college. I'm all the way from Washington, D.C. And if you know where that is, it's from where I'm sitting right now, it's about a 13-hour drive, or a 2.5-ish hour plane ride away. It's not super close. My parents can't hop in the car every weekend, drive out here and get to see me every day, which I would love if they could. But they can't. So I went far away from home, especially compared to where both my older siblings went. They were about 5 hours away from home. So I took a chance to come out here and train under the former head coach, this guy, Yuri Sugiyama, who, fun backstory about him, he used to coach both of my older siblings back in 2011 and 2012 when he was coaching Katie Ledecky to her first Olympics and her first Olympic gold. And I made the decision to come out to Wisconsin, take a chance on Yuri, take a chance on the school, the environment, the team that was there, because I knew if there was one coach in this world that could get me a spot on the Olympic team, it was going to be Yuri. And I put all my trust and my faith in him, and I came out here in 2020, the fall of 2020, when everything was still pretty shut down. We didn't have a pool. We didn't know if we were going to be able to practice. Classes were online. We were allowed to live in our dorms, but you weren't allowed to see anybody else in the dorms. I had no idea what I was getting myself into. I but I sat down on a meeting with my mom, my dad, my club coach, and Yuri. And all of them were kind of just like looking at me on this Zoom meeting and they're like, Phoebe, and 18. I'm about to turn 18 at this point because I'm young for my grade. They're like, "What do you want to do?" And I remember kind of like looking at my parents and looking at the coaches and being, I want to go to college. I want to take the chance. I want to take the risk. I know Yuri can do it. Like, you all are there supporting me and helping me in every which way. Like, I want to take the chance and I want to go out to college. So I'm out there, barely have a pool. We're biking 5 miles out to Ridgewood, I think is a summer pool in this area. Beta Nelson goes there, if you know that name. I think she does at least.
Yep,
But we were biking.
we have a lot of Ridgewood kids and a lot of All City kids know certainly where Ridgewood is, and the big All
There
City
you
meet was
go.
there a couple of years ago, right after COVID. And yep,
So we were practicing out at Ridgewood every day, and we couldn't ride in cars. So I was biking 5 miles uphill to go swim at this summer pool for the first 2 months before things finally started opening up, and I finally got to get into the brand new UW pool that's awesome. Um, and I we had our Big Tens. We went on to NCs, and this was my first national championship. I had no idea what to expect. There was five of us women there. There was five women, three coaches. That's not a big team. That's not a lot of people you can look up to in the stands or on the pool deck and try and pull energy from. But they got around me. They were up in the stands, cheering, smiling, waving, screaming their heads off as much as they could to get me excited for my 200 back that was going to be later that night. And I swam, won it. Nobody expected that. Dropped 2 seconds from my time, blew myself out of the water. I was blown away by what I had just achieved. And I knew that there was just more to come. I knew that there was just more to come, more to happen, more good to be had. And that led me into that summer where I made my first Tokyo Olympic team. And it was incredible. It was top five lifetime experience. So much fun, so exciting. I enjoyed every aspect of the Olympics. I placed fifth, but won a best time in an Olympic A final. Not many people can say that they've done that, and I wore that around with pride. I came back to school that following fall, and I was just purely excited for what the year was to come, what I could achieve, where I was going to struggle and have to push past. I was happy and I was ready to go. Sophomore year went okay for me. I came second at NCAA's, which was I was like, you know what? It's really hard to come back and do something twice. So for me to come back and come second, I'll take that. I put points on the board for my team and I'm happy about that. That then led to Worlds that summer. Did great at Worlds. I won a silver medal and lost to the current world record holder and two-time Olympic champ. So I was like, you know what? I'll take second to her. Like that, I can live with that one too. But in the back of my head, I was always like, I want to race her again. I'm ready. This time I want to beat her. But that all again just a combination of things coming together, leading me into my junior year and my senior year where I hit a rut. I didn't know what was going on with me. I was not wanting to show up to practice, but still coming. I was getting scared behind the blocks prior to racing, like wanting to back down and back away from a challenge, which was not the Phoebe that I knew, and it was not the Phoebe that my coaches knew. I don't like backing down from challenges. I told you I grew up with three other siblings. When I say we were competitive, it was wild. But and that's just how I've always lived. So when I started to walk into practices and the immediate thought in my head turned to, is this gonna hurt? What if I can't go this time? What if I can't finish the race? What if I lose? all these what if thoughts would pour into my head the second that I would walk down on the pool deck. And the pool deck for me was this happy place. It was something I enjoyed going to. I'd walk down on deck every day with this smile on my face, say good morning to everybody, because I loved going to the pool and I enjoyed that. And for me to now start walking down to the pool deck and have these negative thoughts just be pouring into my brain, I didn't like that. It made me feel really sad, upset, and like uncomfortable with what I was doing. And that's when I just sat down with my coach and I don't cry or shed a tear too much, but I remember I was sitting there and he was like, Phoebe, what's up? Like, what's going on? And I started crying. I was like, Yuri, I'm nervous. I'm scared. What if I'm never gonna be that good again? What if I just get slower from here? What if I never go best time? And he was like he gave me a hug and he felt for me because these are real thoughts. This was a legitimate like issue that I was having that we wanted to then work through together to get past because we knew that there's still that really competitive and strong swimmer where it's just slightly hidden behind this shade of negativity at the moment. And we talked and we talked and we said that's okay to have these thoughts. That's okay to have these feelings. It's okay to be nervous. It's okay to be scared or worried about plenty. It's how you let that affect your actions. Your thoughts affect your actions and your actions affect your thoughts. How can you balance the two? And his words were, you can have those thoughts, you can think like that, but when you walk up behind the block, bring yourself back to who you are. Be where your feet are. And from that point on, I'd walk up behind the block and I'd be like, okay, where am I? I'm behind the block. I'm about to swim 100 backstroke. And all the scary what ifs, the fail thoughts, the bad, they just went out the door because I was able to stand there, stand behind the block and be like, where am I? I'm at the pool, I'm on the deck, and I'm about to swim the 100 back. And those are the only things that would go on in my head prior to racing, just so I could push this negativity past me. That was one of the big pieces. And you can like there are times that these struggles still come up now. Like I still every once in a while will walk on deck happy as ever, excited as ever, start swimming practice, and my sports psychologist calls them essentially mini panic attacks. I'll hit the wall after some effort and I'll start breathing really heavy and I'll start to get really nervous and like shaky and like usually I'll like make eye contact with my coach because I'll be like, "Oh no." And she'll walk over and she'll be like, Phoebe, be where your feet are. And just that one line allows me to kind of just take one deep breath and put myself back in the moment and back to that, like I said at the beginning, that 8 or 9 year old doing summer swimming, having fun, just swimming for pure enjoyment, not a job, not a career, not because my parents want me to go fast, but just purely because I wanted to be there and I wanted to be swimming. And that's why I find so much joy in swimming now, because I get to look back and I get to see the positive moments, making an Olympic team at 18, the negative moments where just last year we had a meet here against UW Green Bay, and I was signed up for the 200 butterfly, which I swam a couple of times, but not many. And I walked up behind the block, feeling not so great about it. A little worried. I mean, anybody that's swam a two fly knows it hurts. So you're right. Yeah. But and I knew it was gonna hurt. I knew it was gonna be hard, and I was totally okay with that. But I walk up behind the block, and I'm maybe 5 feet away from the block as they blow the whistle. And instead of taking a step up towards it, I took a step away. I took a step away from the block because I got so worked up and nervous about this race. And to me, that's one of my worst moments. But now, as the stronger mentally and physically swimmer that I am now, I can look back on a moment like that and be like, that was really hard to do and that was really difficult, but I'm stronger and I'm better for doing something like that. And that's where I just you have to learn from it, but then move past it. But swimming has brought me all over the world. It's brought me friends from all over the world. It's allowed me to take my family all over the world. It's been some of the best of times, some of the worst of times. But ultimately, I always come back to why am I still swimming now? I'm graduated college. I start a job in a week. I also start a master's degree in 2 weeks. Like, why am I still swimming? Because I have so much fun doing it. Like, look at me right now. I'm talking to a bunch of Badger Aquatics Club swimmers. Like, you guys are the ones that are in there every day working hard, trying to go get on a college team, make a junior nationals cut, make a nationals cut, or win state, or go to the Olympics one day. You guys are the ones that are working hard, and I get to talk to you all. It's cool to listen to me talk, but I also think it's really cool to hear the questions that you all have and get to see you guys race and compete and practice. Like back when I was at the Jack Pettinger meet, one of my favorite parts was walking back out on deck and watching everybody like get ready for their races or get or race. And it's just so much fun for me because I see myself in you all. I see that like 8, 9 year old in you guys where you're just swimming for the fun of it. You're enjoying yourself. You're probably eating Cheez-Its and goldfish 10 minutes before you dive into the water. Whereas I couldn't do that anymore now. But back when I was your guys' age, like I was doing stuff like that because I was just having a good time with the sport and with the people and my parents. My mom's a loud person and you can hear her screaming at a swim meet. And it doesn't matter if I'm doing well or if I'm not doing so well. She's going to be screaming and cheering, and everybody in the pool is going to hear her. And it's not, she never puts pressure on me to swim better, train harder, do more. She never does that. She never has, and I don't think she ever will in her life because she wants me to be doing what I do and spending the 30 hours a week doing what I do because I love it, because I enjoy it, or because I want to be there. She doesn't want this for me to be something that becomes so overwhelming that I have these panic attacks and I freak out about something. Like swimming should always be fun. And you might, along your years of swimming, whether you swim for another 10, 15, or only another 5, you're gonna have some rough patches. You're gonna have moments where you're gonna probably want to be like, I want to quit. I want to quit swimming right now. But always just remind yourself kind of where you are. If you do quit, what are you gonna lose? Are you gonna lose some of those friends that you made? Are you going to lose some of the coaches that are mentors to you? Like think about it like that. Think about like the joys that swimming has brought you and what's put a smile on your face when you do walk into the pool deck before making any big decisions. Like that reminds me of a I was 10 years old and it was middle of the winter and I all I wanted to do was play ice hockey. All I wanted to do was play ice hockey. I marched up to my mom as a 10-year-old and I was like, Mom, I'm quitting swimming. I'm quitting it. I'm done. I'm not swimming. I'm going to play ice hockey. and she had to let me. She didn't want to, but she knew that like it was my decision. Like I wasn't enjoying swimming at the time. I wanted to be done with it. So she was like, "All right." So I stopped swimming and I went on to go continue my ice hockey career. I thought in my mind, I thought I had quit swimming for 6 months. I thought I was out of the water for 6 months. Little did I know, and I only learned this when I was about like 16 or 17 year old. So this was new knowledge to me just recently. My mom said that I quit swimming for not even 30 days. I didn't even quit for a month because I missed it so much. I missed my friends. I missed my coaches. I missed doing it. And all I wanted to do was come back. And I thought I was out of the water for half a year. I thought people were gonna like not know where I went. But I quit for less than a month because I just learned that how much fun that I had in swimming and I didn't want to give it up. Um, but that's kind of the gist of my career. I know I went in a lot of different directions, but ultimately coming off of everything that I said, I think the key points are like that teamwork, rely on your teammates so they can rely on you. Be where your feet are. You don't need to go into the future and jump into the what ifs. You don't need to look into the past and dwell on maybe a bad race. Get over it. Get on to the next. You'll be better. And just have fun. Swimming's fun. It should be. Even when your coach sometimes yells at you, there's always fun to it somewhere. But I'll open up for some questions. I saw a bunch coming in through the chat.
Yeah,
Jacob,
yeah,
how you want me?
yeah. Well, first of all, that's awesome. Thank you so much. Yeah, the kids will tell I never yell. I never yell. So that's it's maybe some other coaches, but not me. One of the questions was what basically the basic what is your favorite stroke, right? Pretty classic question. But I want if you could answer that, but also talk about kind of your most recent world's experience because I think it's really interesting, kind of what the switcheroo sort of thing, if you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, yeah. So I would say, so my favorite stroke is probably butterfly because I think people think it's the hardest, but it feels the best when you're going fast. So that's why, so butterfly is my favorite, but backstroke is my best stroke. And both the Olympic teams I've made, both the NCAA championships that I've had, that I won, um, the worlds that I went to have all been in the 200-meter long course backstroke. I've always competed internationally backstroke. And I went to trials this summer in June, and my schedule went the 200 back on the first day, the 100 back on the second, and the 2 IM on the third. I was nervous for that 2 back. Having it be my first day, I was like, oh no. Swam it, went a top 5 time in the world, and placed fourth. I didn't make the world's team after having made the Olympic team the year before in this event. I was kind of crushed by that. I walked out of the water visibly upset for sure. And I walked over to my coaches and they kind of like looked at me and I looked at them and we shook our heads with some sadness because we were bummed that I didn't make the team. And my coach was kind of like, go warm down, like cry it out if you need to, be upset, do whatever you want. But when you walk back over to this team area, I want you focusing on the next race. They understood that I needed some time to process it, but they knew that when I came back, like it was time to get over it and move on because I had more racing to be done. Swam the 100 back, went a time that I haven't swam in 7 years. So I call it a best time. It was this close to my actual best time, but it was something I hadn't touched in 7 years. I was ecstatic. I was over the moon. I placed like fifth or sixth in the event, didn't make the world's team. And I was like, that's okay. That is okay. I'm happy with that race. Move on to the third day. It's the 200 IM. I don't think I've swam a 200 IM at a national level meet since I was 18, and I'm 23 right now. So I never swim the 2 IM. This is like a random event for me. It was on the last day. I was like, yeah, I'll sign up for it. Swim it in the prelims. Won a best time. I was like, oh, cool. I was pretty happy. Swam it at finals. I went out like a rocket. I had nothing to lose in this event. I didn't swim the 200 IM. There was all I knew I could do was swim it as fast as I could. So I went for it. Excuse me. And I ended up swimming down the freestyle, and I could see Alex Walsh, who went to the Olympics for it the year before. And I remember just seeing her and being like, maybe she's first, maybe I'm second. I don't know. Touch the wall, look up at the board, second place. I get to go to Singapore. I get to go to Worlds this summer. I was blown away. There's a video of my reaction somewhere on my Instagram if you ever want to watch it. But I could not imagine, like, I was baffled that I had just made the team in the 200 IM, an event that I don't train all that often. I don't really race it all that often, but I was like, oh my God, wow. And we went this summer to Singapore, and I ended up getting a little bit sick during the meet, but that still didn't stop me from competing. I was gonna race through any illness that I possibly had because I was in Singapore with Team USA swimming the 200-meter IM. I could not give up that opportunity to race in such a cool venue for such an incredible team and moment. And I swam that prelim swim, and I made it to semis, and I was like, cool, hard one's done, on to the next. Like, stay focused, stay with what I'm doing, be where my feet are. Swam it in semis, went second to my lifetime best. So right on it, right on it. And I was like, awesome, this is great. But I had just missed finals, which was pretty hard to deal with. I was pretty upset by that, but I walked away with my head held high because I made the team in an event that I wasn't expecting and something that could be a really awesome event for me come 2026, 2027, 2028. And I learned so much that about how I can, if I put my mind to racing an event, there's no telling what you can do. And that goes for anybody. If you go into an event just completely fearless and not worried about any sort of outcome, you're going to walk away really surprising yourself. So,
I love that. I love that because, like you said, like, and when you say at the other meets prior to this Worlds, you did backstroke. Am I correct that you only ever did only backstroke, right? Not
only ever backstroke,
no free on
nothing else.
relays, no other events, no, right.
Yeah.
I love it because I feel like there are often, young kids and you kids out there listening that like, well, I'm 8 and I am a backstroker, or I'm a butterfly, or I'm a breaststroker. And here you have as accomplished an international athlete as you could get, right? Two-time Olympian, NCAA champion, but like always in this event, this event, this event, this event, and then you go and kind of accidentally pivot and make worlds in another a totally different event. And again,
Yeah.
the highest international stage is amazing, and I love it. I think it's a hopefully a good lesson for all you guys. This is why we work on everything, especially any of you younger kids listening. You don't have any idea what your best stroke is right now. All right,
This
a
is
couple other.
true.
I had a couple fun ones that were in there. People asked, it was kind of twofer, but like meat prep stuff. Somebody said, like, what kind of food do you like to eat before or during meets? Somebody said, what's your favorite hype up song? And then anything else about like kind of meat prep, preparing yourself to race.
Okay. So night before the meet, I eat pretty healthy. I do love a dessert. from time to time, but I would say I eat pretty healthy. Chicken, rice, pasta, vegetables is essentially my meals every night. But morning of race day, so I have this rule, and it's a science thing too. So it takes your body 3 hours to wake up in the morning, essentially. So you might wake up at 6 a.m., but your body is not fully awake until 9 a.m. Even if you have your eyes open that entire period. So prior to race day, if my race is at 10:30, I always work backwards from the minute I race. If I race at 10:30, I'm getting up no later than 7:30. 7:30 is the latest. Usually I'll even push it 30 minutes extra. So I'll wake up at 7:30. I do quick little bit of foam roll and stretch just to like wake my body up a little bit more. And my breakfast prior to meets, I like to keep it simple, but something that's going to keep me full. So I'll do some scrambled eggs, fruit, and some toast. That sits well with my stomach. I know a lot of people really like oatmeal. I've tried the oatmeal. It doesn't work for me. So that's like each person is different. Some people love bagel and cream cheese. That's a great option. Some is the eggs and toast. Some is oatmeal. It's learning what your body likes. And I learned I'm an eggs and toast. So I have my breakfast. I do drink coffee. I not everybody drinks coffee, but I need that one. So I have my coffee with my breakfast. I'll head over to the pool, and prior to getting in the water for my initial warm up, I like to find a slightly quieter area. I do some more stretching, some more foam rolling and like activating, like jumping, swinging my arms, swinging my legs, and then I'll sit down on the ground, headphones on, and just do 5 minutes of just like a quiet, like no thoughts in the head, just relaxing the body to just prep me to get racing and get going. And throughout all this, I am listening to music. I can tell you some of the songs that I listen to. Um, let's see. I like J. Cole, Middle Child, if you guys know that one. Kendrick Lamar, anything by Kendrick Lamar gets me really hyped for meets. I like rap a lot, so I tend to go towards rap songs over anything else. But I love Betty Wap. I know these are odd names, and the parents in the videos might be like, "Who is Phoebe listening to?" But trust me, rap gets me excited. And and everybody's got their own kind of vibe to it. But that's what I like as I'm getting ready, and then after that, I hop in the water. I get going on my first warm up, hop out, put my race suit on, maybe hop back in the water, and then it's go time. And I would say I'm 50-50. Some races I walk up with my headphones on because it helps distract me a little bit. When I'm listening to rap music, I can't think about the what ifs or the oh no's because usually I'm singing along to it. And if I'm singing along to something, then I can't think about negative thoughts. And that's one thing I do to help distract myself. And then sometimes I walk out without any headphones on because I'm just comfortable and happy with where I'm at. But those are my musics and kind of my morning of race day to racing.
Nice. Love it. Somebody asked, what's the farthest you've traveled? I know you mentioned a couple like different experiences, but if I could expand that a little, if you could just like rattle off like where has swimming taken you, right? Obviously you were in Singapore, but where were you for the you were someplace else for the training and leading up to it, and obviously you
Yeah,
did trials here and Olympics there, and this world's here, and this. So if you could just rattle off some of the places you've been with swimming.
got you. Yeah, so the farthest I have ever been was Singapore. That is, I think it was a total of like a 40-hour travel day. Um, Prior to that, we were in Thailand. I've been to Croatia twice. I've been out to Fiji, which is some islands. That was super cool. And I went out to Fiji when I was 16, I think. So that was pretty wild. I didn't even have a cell phone. That's how, and I know kids these days all have phones. I think I was 16 years old. I didn't have my own cell phone, and my mom was sending me on a 12-hour plane ride to Fiji. Um, I've been to Ireland. I've been to Germany, Hawaii, Canada, Peru, been to South America. I think I have almost hit every continent. The one I'm missing is Australia. I one I will eventually go to Australia, I promise you. But that is the one big one that I'm missing and I'm dying to go to.
That's awesome. That's a heck of a list. Peru. What was in Peru?
The Pan American Games in 2019.
Awesome. Awesome.
Yeah, it was a good one.
We had a number of questions about like kind of the motivation. So somebody's, what's your biggest motivation for swimming? How do you stay motivated on the hardest days? How do you stay motivated to finish a hard practice? We had, probably 4 or 5 different questions of variations on that theme. So if you could talk a little about that.
Yeah, yeah. I draw my motivation partially just for myself. I want to be better. I want to be faster. I want to be stronger because I want so there is some very internal motivation that I drive from. But then the other big piece is I talk about that like teamwork aspect. I walk into practice knowing that Maggie Wanizak next to me is going to get better because I'm going to be there racing and pushing her. And she walks into practice knowing that I'm going to get better because she's going to be there pushing and racing me. We work as a team to better each other because we hold each other accountable. We rely on each other. I remember back in club, I had this one kid, Will Tempest. We went head to head in everything. I mean, everything. And if there was ever a day that he skipped or I skipped or something came up, the other one would come back the following day and they would not hear the end of it. I'd be in the lane next to Will's and the entire time I'd be like, "Oh, like you're not as good as me. You skip practice." Blah blah. Like I would not stop talking to him, annoying the heck out of him because we relied on each other so much. So I find a lot of my motivation intrinsically, and then a lot of it is just because I want my teammates to get better, and they rely on me to help them get there. So that's where I find my motivation. I want her to be a faster, better, stronger swimmer, and that motivates the heck out of me.
That's awesome. Awesome. Uh, I like, I guess, no, let's see. So somebody just, the last two on there kind of go together. Somebody said, how many days a week do you swim and how many hours a day? And then somebody else said, how many times a week do you do dry land? So what's your kind of practice routine looking like these days?
Yeah. So my usual is I lift weights 3 times a week. So Monday, Wednesday, Friday, I'm in a weight room lifting, and I didn't start lifting weights until I hit college. All high school, middle school, we did dry land. But so I'm in the weight room days a week. I'm doing dry land work, so like pull-ups, push-ups, abs twice a week. So that's Tuesday, Thursday. And then I have about 1, 2, 5, 6, 7, 9, and I'll say a half, 9.5 swim practices a week. So if you count it all up in total, I'm doing around 30 hours of training. And that's like if you count like some of the like going back and forth or the recovery time that I spend a lot of her time trying to recover from doing all this work. Um, but and this many hours, this many workouts, none of this was in I wasn't doing any of this in high school. This all started when I came to college.
what was your routine more in high school, especially balancing the sports you did?
Yeah, yeah. So high school, um, I would do a dry land workout about 4 times a week. So I'd go Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and then we would do it Saturday. And that would involve jump rope, pull-ups, push-ups, all that, a ton of core. So that 4 times a week. And we would swim 7 times a week. But no weight room back in high school.
And you do that while you were also playing soccer in the fall, or
My fall schedule was I would uh I would swim. I would wake up at 4 in the morning. I'd go to practice from 4:30 to 6:30 a.m.
swim practice?
Swim.
Yep.
Go to school or get to school around 7:30. School from 7:30 to 3. Soccer would start at 4. Soccer would be 4 to 6. Come back home, dinner, homework, go to bed, do it all again the next day. It, my mom thought I was not gonna make it through high school, but I said I was fine. Keep working.
How about in the winter with hockey? So I guess did you when you were competing with your high school, were you training with your high school? Or were you training with club with right?
So and I know all states are different, and I know Wisconsin's pretty different with the high school swimming,
Yeah,
but for
yeah.
our
This is good for kids. I want you all to know this and realize that it kind of works different around here too. But go ahead.
yeah, yeah. Our high school teams are obviously everybody that people that can swim to people that are just learning how to swim. They open it up for everybody, and nobody that did, if I did like year-round club swimming, so me training with Nation's Capital Swim Club counted as my high school practice, and I would compete in the meets for the high school team, but I would practice with my club team. And that was pretty universal for all the high schools in our area. Um, because it would be pointless in a sense for me to go to our high school practices when we have some girls and guys like just learning how to swim across the pool.
Yeah, yeah. So just so everybody is that's watching is aware, like Phoebe said, it works quite a bit differently and from one state to another, right?
Mhm.
In Wisconsin, obviously, the girls' high school season is a fall sport for high school. The boys is the winter sport. But Wisconsin is very much kind of the outlier in that the kids train with their high school teams and compete. Most of the country, your serious swimmers, your serious year-round swimmers continue their practice throughout the entire high school season and just kind of show up for meet. So it's a little bit different of experience, a little bit different trade-off.
Yeah.
Somebody asked why you chose UW for swimming.
Yeah. I think this one's pretty easy. Um, a big part of it was Yuri. Like I said, I if there was a coach in the world that could get me to the Olympics, it was him. So he was a massive, massive pull to here. And then when I was on my visit here, I was kind of paired up with this girl, Jenna Silvestri, and this other one, Holly Stoll, and they kind of just helped me fall in love with Wisconsin and the Midwest. And I come from a city. Like we've got skyscrapers everywhere. Like it's nothing like the Midwest out here, but they showed me how awesome it was and how good of a team that we had here and how much everybody like cares about each other and again wants people to do well. So I I said, here I come, Wisconsin.
That's awesome. Yeah, it's good. A couple Wisconsin girls steering you in the right direction. That's
Yep,
good.
yep.
That's good. Thankful to them. Well, thank you so much. I don't know if it's so much a question. One of the things I wanted to highlight was how kind of open you were with like the struggles that you had, right? And the rut that you
Mhm.
had and the perspective that you had on it and how that's something that you had to work through in order to kind of get success on the other side. I think that's
Yeah.
something that I know 10 or 15 years ago, athletes struggling with that sort of rut or that sort of like being stuck. We're not as open as everybody seems to be now. I mean, even compared to, when I was that age or
Hmm.
whatever, like, I think it's a great thing. And kids, I think it's a great thing that people are talking and more open about sort of the mental difficulties of coming across stuff. I did want to, so if you wanted to expand on, I also really liked, the Phoebe driven, not mom driven. Mom seems like she made a very strong, conscious choice to, make you be the steerer of your own ship in that regard. And I think that's awesome. I think there,
Yeah.
I struggle with this. So my daughter is 8 and my son is 6. And I know from coaching that I know you're not, whatever. And it's hard, man. So shout out to parents. It's hard not to tell your kid what to do, man. But can
Yes.
you talk a little more about anything else about that? Just kind of how that helped you be set up to who you are?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. So my mom claims to have a good butterfly. We get to see about 3 strokes of it every summer when we're down at the beach. She kind of looks like a sinking whale, but don't tell her that. She grew up as a lacrosse, soccer, basketball, went off to college and played lacrosse and soccer. Knows how to keep herself safe in the water, but never really grew up swimming in any capacity. And as for my dad, he swam in high school, but that was his extent. And again, swimming just started for us because my mom wanted to go to the pool and tan. And if she could send her kids off to a practice and she could lay out for an hour and a half, she was golden. Um, that was great for her. But so that's where we started, and those coaches kind of convinced us to get into this year-round thing. And every step of the way, like my mom, my dad, here and there, I'd swim a race, come out of the water, we'd be driving home, and they'd be like, well, how was that? How do you feel? How do you think about it? And sometimes I'd be able to be like, oh, that was bad. I did this wrong. My coach told me to do this. I didn't do this. And then sometimes I'd be like, like it was good. It was fine. And anytime I said one or the other, my mom's response was always something positive, even if it wasn't something I necessarily wanted to hear in the moment. If I did have a bad race and I'm sitting here and I'm like, yeah, mom, I swam bad. Her response was always going to be, it looked great. You looked like you were smiling behind the blocks. You looked like you were having a fun time on deck with this person. There was always something positive that came from her mouth. And that was more when I was younger and growing up, and swimming was still just this pure joy and fun of mine. As I started making these international teams and the Olympics and stuff like that, where the weight was a little bit heavier on me, I remember thinking that I don't want to disappoint my mom. I don't want to disappoint my family. Like if I go and swim at this high level meet that they just spent a ton of money to fly out here, I don't want to lose for them. And the weight started getting heavier and heavier. But still, I'd swim the event, I'd do good or I would do bad, and I'd walk over, I'd get a hug from my mom, or I'd smile to her, I'd wave, and it would always just be, you looked great. You looked great. Because she wanted to know that no matter what or how I performed in the water, she always saw me in a positive light. There was never like a moment of negativity for her in this. And I think there were plenty of times where she did want to step in and part her knowledge or push me in a certain direction. And I think she either was able to stop herself, or maybe my dad, I would go and complain to my dad and he'd get her to stop. Because it is, I mean, a parent just wants to see their child succeed, just wants them to do well, have fun and enjoy what they're doing. So it's hard to not always step in. But I think for any parents truly listening, it's just check in on your kids on in the fun side. Doesn't have to be super swim specific. Like my mom was always just there, like you were smiling with Maya down on deck, or like, oh, you were having a good time with Coach Tim. That like, and that was all I needed to know, that she cared and she was happy to see me succeed or struggle, and she was always there if I did. But she always saw me in a positive light.
That's awesome. I think that's a perfect kind of sentiment to end things on because it's good for obviously a lot of kids logged on, but some parents I'm sure in the background and be watching this later. Yeah, I always tell. I mean, the classic thing I always tell parents is, "Great job. I'm proud of you. What do you want to eat?" Like you can't do much better than that as the post race analysis, right?
For
Um,
dinner.
yeah, exactly. Like, let's go get some food. Well,
Yeah.
thank you so much. Good luck with the new job. Good luck with the grad school. Good luck with the 4,000 hours a week of training and the I think you counted 14 or 15 practices a week.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Way to go. We'll hopefully see you around. We'll see you around. You got any meets coming up?
I'll head my first couple in the entire month of October. I'll do the World Cup circuit. So I'll race in Carmel, Indiana, and then head up to Westmont, Illinois, and then up to Toronto, Canada, all in the month of October. And then I'll be back here home, just training and cheering on the Badgers when I can.
Nice. All right. Well, I know I speak for everybody. There's 1,000 good luck messages popping into the chat. So good luck with all that. We'll be keeping an eye on you, and thanks for taking the time.
Thank you guys so much. It was, oh, again, always fun to do this, and you guys are also part of my motivation in swimming. I like to see you all succeed. So thank
Good.
you.
All right. Well, good. Everybody else out there, a reminder that the clothing deadline is tonight. So log off and go order your suit if you haven't done that yet. All right. Thanks, Phoebe. Bye,
Yep.
everybody.
Bye.